Hello, welcome back. I have left Seattle now and I am here in Oregon. This is Astoria. That is the Astoria column. I played 3 sessions in Seattle and I won a total of $12. So I'm spending about a week in Portland, so I'm hoping to at least double that and win about $24 across the 6 sessions. But I don't want to be too ambitious. We'll see how it goes. Welcome to Portland. Welcome to episode 50. This is our first notable hand at Meadows. I am playing 1-3 in this session, and just facing 2 limps, I raise pocket queens up to $20 in small blind. Player to my left now 3 bets to 80, folds back around to me. A pretty big sizing, 4x in position, and we're a little bit deep. I don't really want to get it in here, so I just call. Go to a really nice flop of Jack 7-6, 2 diamonds. I check it over, and my opponent fires out a bet of 105. Really big bet here. That's like 2/3. Not loving it, but got to call at least once. So we're off to a turn, which is the 4 of spades. I check it over, and my opponent fires out another bet of 275. Really quick, too. This spot is just so underbluffed. Like, I will never call here and see him have ace-king. He's never doing this with ace-jack. So I think we're just going to have to fold an overpair here, as gross as that sounds. I just don't see him ever bluffing here. So I make the fold. He doesn't tell us what we have, so we don't get any closure, but that is okay. I'm pretty sure I made the right decision there. Alright, in this next hand, low jack has limped. Hijack raises things up to 15. I've got king 5 suited in the big blind. Looks like an okay defend, maybe a bit too loose, but go ahead and defend. Low jack also makes a call, so 3 ways to a flop of king 8 deuce rainbow. I check it over, and now the limper leads out for 15. Hijack makes a call. Nothing to do here but call, so I toss in the 15, and we're off to a turn, which is the 10 of diamonds. Pretty meh card, doesn't really change too much. Check it over, low jack now fires out 50, about half pot. Hijack folds, and can't really go anywhere with the top pair just yet, but not feeling great about it. So I call, and we're off to a river, which is amazing. The 5 of clubs, 2 pair up. I check it over, and now he fires out a bet of 75. Definitely going to raise here for value. Just hope that we don't value on ourselves when he has got like king 8 or something. But 2 pairs too strong to call, so I raise things up to 225 and put my opponent to the tank. Thinking a bit, and eventually makes the call. We show our hand, and he shows the king. Oh, I didn't put it in here, but he had king deuce offsuit. So he actually flopped the 2 pair, and we rivered a better one. Really lucky on our part. Alright, on to the next hand. We've got pocket 9s in the small blind facing a low jack open to 12 and a hijack call. Low jack has different opening sizes based on the strength of his hand, so $12 pocket 9s is way ahead of this. So I re-raise to 60, big blind folds, low jack calls, and hijack folds. Also, people are folding a ton to 3 bets in this game, but we're heads up to a flop of jack 5-3 rainbow. Pretty good flop, but I'm going to check it over to him, see what he wants to do. As well, players are so aggressive when you check to them. They will just bet. So I check it over. Low jack sure enough bets out $50, about 40%, and I make the call. Off to the turn, which is the king of clubs. I check it over, and low jack now fires out a bet of 150. Bit weird. He's no longer repping a jack now, unless he's got king jack exactly. But I just don't think he's got that too often with his raise size pre-flop, and I don't think he's going to call king jack offsuit against my 3-bet. Suited for sure. There's only 2 combos of that, so I get a little bit sticky here, and I make the call. Off to the river, which is the deuce of diamonds. 4-6 does get there, but I don't think he's opening that. I'm pretty sure he just limped 4-6 suited, so I'm not worried about that. I check it over, and now he goes all in for 385. And I've been folding a lot this session. I've been getting run over. People just bet when he checks them, and he's repping pretty much pocket 5s and pocket 3s here. That's it. And king jack suited. It's just so few hands. I'm getting a little bit curious. I want to see what's going on because I'm getting blasted off every pot I play. So I toss in the call. My opponent shows the pocket 3s for the flop bottom set. We're going to pay him off for this $1,300 pot. Doesn't feel great. Moving things along, we have an under the gun open to 20, which is quite large, like 7x. We do have 2 callers, and I look down at ace-queen offsuit in the cutoff. Players are just folding so much to 3 bets. I think I want to lean on the side of aggressiveness, especially pre-flop, so I squeeze it up to 100. Folds back round, the original raiser makes a call. and the hijack just puts the rest of his $65 stack in there. So we are 3 ways to a flop of Jack 8-4 rainbow. No help, I'm not going to bluff into a dry side pot, so I just check when it gets checked to me. We're off to a turn, which is the king of spades. So we pick up a gut shot, and now under the gun leads out for 100. Pretty small bet, we've gone over in a gut shot, so I make the call. Off to the river, which is no help, the 3 of diamonds. And now my opponent checks it over. There's about $340 in the side pot, so like 150 in the main. And I just don't think this guy can call. Like, he's just not one to call down. Even if he's got like king 10, I'm pretty sure we can get him off king 10. Yeah, these people just don't want to call down. So I fired a bet of 250. Under the gun takes his time and folds. Pick up the side pots. I show my hand. And it's good against hijack as well. So we scoop the whole thing with ace high. Love it. Moving things along, under the gun +2 is raised to 15. We have a low jack and button call, and I've got pocket 10s in the big blind. This is definitely a fine defend, but against these guys that are raising very wide, like this could be jack 10 offsuit from under the gun +2. They're actually like raising a lot wider than back home, so I want to put in the squeeze here, so I make it 85. Under the gun +2 calls, low jack folds, and button makes the call. So we are 3 ways to a flop of 7-5-4 all diamonds. Definitely not betting here. I check it over, and under the gun puts out a half pot bet of 130. Button folds, and nothing to do here but call with our overpair. On to the turn, which is from bad to worse. It's the jack of diamonds. We got now an overcard, 4 to a flush, so I just check it, planning probably to fold to a turn bet. But my opponent checks behind. Go to a really nice river, which is the jack of hearts. Yeah, it makes it a bit less likely he's got a jack now, and I'm just going to check it over, try and get to showdown. And my opponent does check it back, so I table my hand, and it's good. Nice, scooping a $500 pot with just pocket 10s on a 4 flush board. Love it. This next hand, under the gun has raised to 20. I decide just to flat with my king-queen suited in the low jack, and it brings along the cutoff as well as the big blind. So we are 5 ways to a flop of queen 6-5 rainbow. Really nice. Checks to me, I fired a bet of 35. Cutoff folds, button calls, and so does the under the gun player. So we are 3 ways to a turn, which is not great. It's a 6 of clubs. Can't keep barreling here, so I just check it over, and button now stabs for 60, which is less than 1/3 pot. The original raiser calls, and I'm as well going to call. Off to the river, which is the 10 of diamonds. Checks to me, I'm just going to check this, try to get to showdown. Button fires out a bet of 85. Under the gun folds, and versus this sizing of less than a 1/4 pot, we obviously call, and it's good. Button doesn't show what he has, so we're going to take that one down too. This is day 2. We are playing some 1-2, as that is the only game running right now. Max buy-in's 400, but I did just scoop a no-limit Omaha 5 double board bomb pot for $200 before this. That was a mouthful, but cutoff's raised to 7, button is called. I re-raise the ace-queen off to 35, and we get a caller in the button only. Off to a flop of ace-jack 4-2 clubs. Love it. I bet 35, about half pot, and my opponent makes the call. Off to the turn, which is the 7 of clubs. So we pick up the nut flush draw as well. SPR is about 1.5, so I want to bet around about half pot here. Yeah, like 50 to 60. What do I bet? $70. Perfect. And now my opponent shoves all in. Kind of sucks. We're probably beat here, but I can't fold. So I make the call. Off to the river, which is the queen of hearts. Make top 2. I show, and we actually manage to crack buttons. Ace 4 suited. Flop top and bottom pair. And weird to raise on the turn instead of the flop, but we will take it. We're playing some 1-2 with a $5 straddle. Looking down under the gun +2 limp. Middle position is raise it up to 15. And I 3-bet the ace-king offsuit to 60 in the cutoff. Folds around to the straddler, who now shoves all in for 240. Folds back to me, nothing to do here but call. Not loving it, but we got ace-king for $240. Let's get in there. Flop is king 5-4 right away. Turn is the 9 of hearts, even better. River, 7 of clubs. I show my hand, and my opponent briefly flashes a king. So we got it in pretty good there. Yeah, taking out another big pot. We pick up Queen 10 of diamonds in the small blind, facing a button straddle. I raise things up to 15, and I get 3 callers, so we are 4 ways to the best possible flop. It's King Jack 9 with the diamonds. We have the backdoor straight flush draw as well. I'm going to start with a small bet of 20, and only the button calls. Off to a turn, which is the 9 of hearts. Quite like this card. It's going to give him trips sometimes, which means he's going to be able to call down. Looking at this here, it's about 2 SPR, so I should have bet around 60, but I thought he had a little bit less behind, so I only bet 40. Button comes along, and we're off to the river, which is the 4 of diamonds. Nice brick here. I'm going to go for all of it. I shove all in. Opponent thinks for not a whole lot of time and makes the call. We show, and we are good against a 9 of spades and a random card. So yeah, that turn was actually really nice for us. On the gun straddle is live. Hijack has limp, cutoff raised to 15, and we look down at a beautiful ace king of hearts on the button. I make it 55 to go. Button overcalls now, and the cutoff also makes the call. So 3 ways to a flop of queen 10, 8, 1 heart. Pick up a gut shot as well as a backdoor flush draw. Checks to me. Not really wanting to bet this. Otherwise, I don't know. I've got so many better bluffs. So I just check it. We go to a turn, which is the 6 of clubs. Big blind now leads out for 75. Cutoff folds. For that price, we can't go anywhere. It's like less than half pot. So I make the call of my 2 overs and gut shot, hoping to get there on the river. Unfortunately, the river is the 4 of diamonds. Plan to fold to a bet, but now he checks it over. And I've been playing this guy quite a bit, and I honestly think if I move all in, he will fold a hand as strong as ace-queen here. He has just been playing really tight, doesn't want to get too much money in, but does like stabbing, and then when he checks river, he's usually quite weak. But I just think if I move all in, he's going to fold anything that's not better than ace-queen here. So, yeah, that's the extent of my analysis. I move all in. He gives it the, open for a fold. And he eventually does fold. Don't know what he had, but yeah, I just thought that a big bet just accomplishes a lot there, so happy to take that one down with ace high. On to the next hand. The under the gun +2 player has open raised to 12.5 big blinds, $25. Button is called, and I've got pocket 5s on the big blind. We are super deep, so I don't mind a call here. Also, this guy's raise sizes don't make sense. If he's raised first in, it's always 25. If he's raised second in, he sizes down to 20. If he's raised third in, it's down to 15. And if there's a straddle, there was a straddle and like 4 limps, and then he raised pocket 10s to 15 in the big blind. Or in his own straddle. I don't understand his sizings, but he's always doing 25, and pretty much everyone folds pre-flop. But I don't know, I got pocket 5s, so I defend, and get a really nice flop. Queen, Jack, 5, 2 diamonds. I check it over. This guy's been c-betting 100%, so expecting a pretty hefty bet of $50 here, but he checks it back. Button also checks. We're off to the turn, which is the 8 of clubs. I fired a bet of 50. My opponent calls, and button folds. Off to the river, which is the 9 of spades. I just don't think he's going to have too much 10x here, so I still want to get a little bit of value from like some sort of ace high, maybe like a pocket pair of 7s or something. I put a bet of 35, and as soon as I do, he just grabs a 100 stack and moves it in. Never a bluff. So I fold, and he's nice enough to show the ace 10 of clubs for the turned double gutter and get there on the river. That was not going to go our way. All right, moving things along, we have 3 limps, and I raise King Jack offsuit up to $20, and we only get the hijack who makes the call, so we're heads up to a flop, which is really nice. It's Jack 8-4, 2 hearts, we got top pair, really good kicker, checks it over to me, gonna start with a bet here of 35, pretty sizable, and hijack is deep in the tank now. Eventually starts talking to me and says, I don't think you have it. Then shows the Jack of spades, and then folds. What? He called my raise, flops top pair, says I don't think you have it, and then folds top pair face up. I just got absolutely demolished here. Like, how am I not getting his stack there? What? What? Okay, so in this hand, under the gun +1 has limped, which means under the gun +2 has reduced his opening size from 25 to 20. So I make the call with 9-8 of hearts. We are infinite deep here, like 600 something big blinds deep. Under the gun +1 also calls. So we're 3 ways to a flop, which isn't great. It's queen 10-4, so we got a
pretty bad gut shot as well as our backdoor flush draw. I check it over, planning to fold to a bet, but it checks through, which is very strange because the under the gun +2 player, his entire strategy revolves around protection. If he had pocket twos, he would bet $50 here. It's always $50. He doesn't bet any other amounts on the flop. Doesn't matter the pot is $4 or 100. He's always going to bet 50. Stacks them out, pushes them in. But he only does this when he has a made hand. So even pocket twos. But it checks through. Turn is pretty good. It's a 10 of hearts. I'm going to check it over, plan to go for the check raise because he really likes to stab turns after no one's bet. So I check it over. And sure enough, he stabs the turn for $50. I am waiting in the grass, and I re-raise things up to $150. The under the gun +1 player wastes no time and makes the call, and so does the other player. So, not looking good. Looking for some help on the river. It is the Queen of Spades. All things considered, I actually really like this river. I had to sit there and think about it for a second, but under the gun +2 would have bet a queen or a 10 on the flop for $50. Every time. Under the gun +1 would have bet a queen or a 10 on the turn when it's checked to him after he's checking the flop. So neither of these players really has a queen or 10 here. Like, they just don't. So I'm going to fire out this tiny, tiny, tiny little bet that I just don't think anyone's going to be able to call. Right? I really wanted to give up. That was my first instinct, but as I thought through it a bit more, I just don't think anyone has a queen or 10. Ever. So I fired a bet of $100. 1/5 pot. Under the gun's thinking it over and folds. Under the gun +2's thinking it over and folds. We get it through for $100. That is insane. They call a $150 raise on the turn and then both folded. I think they both said they were on diamond draws. So yeah, pretty sweet to pick up that pot. So we are playing against a player who folded the Jack of Spades face up when he flopped top pair on the flop. So I got 9-7 suited, and I'm definitely going to play quite aggressively against this player. So I re-raise up to 40, and he makes the call. Off to a flop of Jack, Jack, 3 rainbow. I'm pretty sure we're just going to be able to win this one with pure aggression, unless he has a Jack. So he checks it over. I fire a bet of 25, and he makes the call. Off to the turn, which is really nice. The King of Diamonds, pick up a flush draw. Now he leads out for $20. These leads are just so common on turns that it just doesn't make sense to lead. Like, I don't even know what he's saying he has here. Ace King? King Jack or something? But, or like pocket threes, or I don't know. I really don't know what this bet is, but I'm just not buying it, especially for that size. We did pick up a flush draw, so I re-raise him up to 135, and he snap shoves all in. So I guess that small lead was quite strong. We obviously fold here. Very nice hand, and that is it for the Meadows. Okay, these are the double board NLO5 bomb pots. I think I got that right. So you have 5 cards in your hand. There are 2 boards, and you are straight to a flop, and it's no limit. Not pot limit, no limit. So my hand here is pocket kings, pocket jacks with the 3, and we're looking at 2 amazing flops. I've got top set on the top board over here on king 10-7. On the bottom board, I flop trips with 2 overpairs. Dream situation. Checks around to the cutoff, who now puts in a pot size bet of 40. I am definitely going to be raising this up. I make it 125, and it folds around to the cutoff, who makes the call. So we are heads up to the turn, which on the bottom board comes down a king. So we make another top boat on the bottom board. And on the left board, we hit a 7. So we're only losing to quads on both these boards. We have 2 top boats. And now cutoff donk shoves 450 into 290 into us. We obviously call with pretty much the nuts on both. On the top board, we hit a 3rd set. Pocket jacks, a 3rd set. And on the bottom board, it is a blank, the 9 of hearts. I show, and I actually scoop both of these boards for $1,200. Nice. In the second interesting NLO5 double board bomb pot hand, I've got a pretty shitty hand here. This is Jack 9, 8, 5, all spades with a 4 of clubs. Pretty garbage, but the top board comes Queen 3 deuce, so we have an open ender there. It's not a great one. And on the other board, we have Jack 9, 9 for the flopped nut full house. I'm going to start with the check here. And now low jack puts in a bet of $40. Button also calls, and when it's back on me, I think I want to raise here, see if I can get them off of a chop. So I bumped things up to 150 and they both call, so plan didn't work out. The turn on the top board is the ace of hearts, so we do make the straight, but flush is out there. And on the bottom board, it's a 10 of spades, so not looking great. Pocket tens now beats us. Our hand's not too strong, but I just don't think they can hold on too much. If they don't have a flush on the top board, they're probably going to let it go, and I've got the Jack 9-9 board just so locked up, so I bet out for 300 here, which is about 2/3 pot. Low jack folds, and button makes a call. He's only got about 380, but we both thought he was all in. River is the 10, which isn't a great card, but we still have a full house. And on the top board, it is another 10. So it makes me feel pretty good that there's very few 10s left. I didn't notice he had 80 behind, so we just opened up our hands and showed. And he actually had pocket aces. I can't remember what else. So he had the set on the top board, but our straight held. And we managed to scoop another $1,100 pot. He tried to give me like the last 80, but just keep it. It was never all in, so... And I'm pretty happy to win $1,100 as well in this double board insane whatever this is. One more of these for you guys. I've got a really nice looking hand this time. Ace, queen to the spades, and then king 4-3 of clubs. Pretty nice hand, and the flop comes down pretty good as well. On the top board, we have a gut shot, as well as a second nut flush draw. And on the bottom board, we also have the second nut flush draw with a gut shot as well. So a 5 on either board will give us a straight, and there's a good chance our clubs are live. So under the gun bets out 20, hijack calls. I don't want to bloat the pot with only the second nut flush draw, so I just call in position, and so does the big blind. So we are 4 ways to this flop, to this turn, which comes down the queen of hearts on the top board and the 5 of spades on the bottom. So we hit our straight on the bottom board, as well as picking up the nut flush draw. And on the top board, we pick up top pair, top kicker as well. So big blind checks. Under the gun now fires out a bet of only $20. Hijack calls, and against another tiny bet, we're just going to put on the pressure here. I raise things up to 160. Big blind folds, under the gun calls, and hijack also folds. So we are heads up to this turn, which on the top board comes down a 6 of diamonds, complete brick. And on the bottom board comes down the ace of diamonds, another pretty big brick. So we have a straight on the bottom, but it's not a very good one, right? He can easily have another straight here as well. On the top board, we really only have ace queen, but I kind of get the feeling he's got the nut flush draw on both boards with the clubs. And I just don't think he can call a bet, so I fire out my bluff of $300. He looks pretty disgusted, and after thinking for a little bit, finds the fold. We managed to pick up another big pot here. I am really enjoying these. Wrapping it up here, we are finished at Meadows. That is episode 49. We played 2 sessions, a 1-3 and then a 1-2 session the next day because I didn't have enough hands. I had a blast playing. It was a lot of fun. The dealers are unpaid, which I really like. It's just nice knowing that they're not earning any money. I'm joking. But there is no rake and the dealers are unpaid, so I had no problem tipping them, $5 a hand. It's still like half of what I'm used to paying in rake, so I don't mind that. One of the hands even threw him $25 when I scooped an NLO5 double board bomb pot. This is so hard to say, but so much fun to play. I had a blast. Meadows is one of my favorite rooms so far. The 1-3 game I was in for $1,500, out for $1,765. Managed to claw our way back up and book a $265 win. Then we went on over to play 1-2 the next day. I was in for a single bind of $400, out for $1,765. No, $1,685 for a win of $1,285. That is a huge couple of wins. That is going to bring the bankroll from $11,845 all the way up to $13,395. I'm going to get some rest now. Thank you guys so much once again for tuning in, and I'll see you guys all in the next video.